Good day, my friends. I hope everything is going well with you. Welcome to another WeatherWord for Monday, September 20th, 2021. Looking at the weather, the main topic of attention right now is the cold front sweeping across the United States. First real cold front of the year for quite a few people. As you see right now, it's making its way Kansas, Iowa, sweeping across the center parts of the country. Now, it's going to make a little more progress than some of the models showed a few days ago. Helped with, there's a couple low pressure areas that have developed. That's kind of indicative that it's got a little more oomph to it. There's a little more of a pressure contrast with the front, and so the front will make a little more progress. Still may not make it to some places, but in terms of the main areas, if you look at tonight, there it is, sweeping into Oklahoma, through Oklahoma. Anybody that hasn't had it, it should be through by tonight or early tomorrow morning in places like Oklahoma. Also making its way, getting through Missouri, into the Great Lakes states. And that progress continues as you look to tomorrow. You'll see it sweeps all the way down through Texas, so a lot of places, Dallas, even getting nearer to Houston, not quite there yet, but Little Rock, a lot of places feeling that cooler air as it continues to make decent progress as the days go on right now. Also, you can see just up in the very top left corner is a little low pressure that in British Columbia, far northwest Canada, or far southwest Canada really. But that's the next system coming onto the stage, getting its act together. Won't quite be what this front was, but shows we're in that time of year where it's just one comes through and here comes the next. By Wednesday, you can see the front makes more progress, pretty much swept through all of Texas into the Florida Panhandle. People around here getting excited because maybe it's going to make it to Central Florida. We'll see. It's going to be a close call. But you can see it's making its way through the east, pretty much clearing most of the country. There is another low. With these lows, you often can get a few more thunderstorms to develop in that area because you get the more rotation in the atmosphere as you get the vorticity that's low-level vorticity, the helicity that's creating the spin of the low. Today in Minnesota, I mentioned Minnesota, Wisconsin, a few thunderstorms. Didn't look like either the rotation or the instability were going to be enough to be too widespread, but the winds were kind of back, so it'll bear watching in that area, but nothing too widespread, I wouldn't think. But by Wednesday, you can see another low, and that's helping that system make a little more progress. This one up around Buffalo, and I saw there's a little chance of storms on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes, a little stronger storms. It didn't look like too much. This system's starting to fade. Most of the main energy's further north. And you can also see that cold front's coming down now. It's that low has organized a little more up in Canada, starting to push that next front into the northwest a bit. And as you go to Thursday, you can see everything just continues that evolution. That first system starting to run out of gas. The front pushes off most of the eastern seaboard, but it kind of drags back through central Florida. So we'll see what we'll get here in Orlando. Probably won't be a ton of cool weather, but maybe places like Tallahassee and Atlanta and Raleigh. A lot of places haven't gotten a lot of cool air this fall yet, and so hopefully it'll make people a little happier. And then there's that next cold front, the low getting going. Still up in Canada. Again, the system's kind of far north, so it's not going to be one of those really deep plunging systems. And I mean, should it be? It's fall, so most systems won't clear Florida this time of year and really bring that significant drop-off in cold air. But it's sweeping across the country again, into the plains, into Nebraska, Kansas. And looks like in the longer-term models, that one may kind of run out of gas as it pushes further east, and then down the road it's starting to look like maybe that'll be kind of the theme for a little while, where systems don't make it as far and there's not a lot going through for a little while. So we may return back to some warm weather. So this may be just a quick taste of cool weather, but the seasons are changing, so hey, a little bit of whatever you like. If you like the warmth, there's warmth for most people. If you like the coolness, there's coolness for most people. So chance to be thankful for whatever we get. Nothing too significant of note in the tropics. Couple name storms. They don't look to affect much of anybody, and they don't look to be all that strong either at any time. So just going off out to sea. One more system near Africa. It's way down the road. No reason to worry about it. I wouldn't we'll see. It's September. It's tropical season, but why waste all our time worrying about stuff like that right when it's so far away and we have no bearing? Our worries have no bearing. Don't make it any easier. We can spend all of tropical season worrying about what might be coming, but we'll get through it. Whatever comes. So, that's your weather features for the day. Front pushing through. Bit of something for everyone, I think. A few storms, nothing too crazy, hopefully. A couple tropical systems, but not coming at anybody. It doesn't look like. Everything pretty reasonable. Now, in the word part of the message, I wanted to read Psalm 102. If I'm honest with you, I almost didn't even do this message today. It's been another tough weekend. People let you down. People think people treat you like you're worth nothing. I mean, if you have those feelings, if nobody really appreciates you, nobody really wants you for much, I know the feeling. It's really been a frustrating weekend. So a bunch of things are I woke up this morning. I went to bed late last night after reading some rough stuff. Woke up this morning, didn't want to really wake up this morning, wasn't sure I was going to do this again. In the past, I would run away, but because nothing's going right. In fact, I'll tell you this, I set to come out here a few hours ago, and then the camera was dead. The battery, the first battery died a month ago, and then I bought a new one. It doesn't stay charged very well, and so I walk all the way out here, and then there's no battery, and so it was just kind of, what are you going to do at that point? You're going to throw the camera in the lake? I wanted to, but I'm not giving up on God. I'm not giving up that He has a plan. He's shown me blessings. In the last couple years, last year and a half, it's just been miserable. But it's not over yet. He still has me here for a reason. I'm going to try to see what it is. Psalm 102, sorry, I read through, I kept jumping around different places in the Bible, and I don't know about you, but when you just feel like you're not in it, and you don't want to do it, or you're just broken, you can read the Bible, and just nothing encourages, nothing speaks. It's just, what am I going to do? I need something. God, you have to give me something. Why aren't you giving me something? So you turn from page to page and go, well, maybe I'll talk about that, maybe I'll, and look, you don't have to be a person doing these silly videos to feel the same way. You can be broken in life and just open the Bible and what is that telling me? What am I supposed to get from that? What are you saying, God? And turn to the next one and, well, maybe this, maybe that. I feel pretty broken reading the Word, but the last place God had me turn happened to be the chapter that I bookmarked at my cousin's funeral a couple of years ago, and today was her birthday, so it kind of, and that was about the lowest point in my life, when my cousin died 2.5 years ago, 2.25 years ago. Felt like nobody wanted me then either, nobody appreciated what I did, nobody thought anything of me, and so reading this again, it was just kind of like, yeah, read through it with me if you would. I'll read most of it. I just want to read it, talk about a quick couple things, and let the message speak for itself. So Psalm 102, King James. A prayer of the afflicted, when he is overwhelmed and poureth out his complaint before the Lord. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thine ear unto me. In the day when I call, answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as unhurt. My heart is smitten, and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. That's brokenheartedness right there. I know that too well. And if you do too, then that God's speaking to you, and I get you. I mean, everybody's going through different stuff. My heart is pierced, broken, and My life is like withered grass. Everything's desolate. Everything's dead. So bad that there's no joy, that I forget to eat, or I don't feel like eating, or I don't know what I'm doing. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. Just as I read that, the Spirit kind of opens something. I mean, by reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. Is that saying that our own mourning is hurting us? I mean, it does. A hope deferred makes the heart sick. So, I'm not surprised by that. It's interesting that David in that verse is saying that. But my bones cleave to my skin. I'm withered away. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I'm not sure about those. I guess they're kind of out of place. Lost. Don't have what they're looking for. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what that's talking about, because the pelican should be at sea and the owl should be in the forest, and so they're lost. They don't have anything. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. Mine enemies reproach me all the day, and they that are mad against me are sworn against me. For I have eaten ashes like bread, and mingled my drink with weeping. Because of thine indignation and thy wrath, for thou hast lifted me up and cast me down. My days are like a shadow that declineth, and I am withered like grass. But thou, O Lord, shalt endure forever, and thy remembrance to all generations. I'll stop there. I wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, verse 12 is kind of, I think I mentioned it on Saturday, and it kind of speaks to me. But thou, O Lord, shalt endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations. Look, I don't know about you, but it's strange. It brings me joy to know that God endures. My life may be broken. My life may be permanently broken. It may never see life again. It feels like it. Man, it feels like it. But God doesn't. He isn't changed. Further on down in verse 14, it says, For thy servants take pleasure in Zion's stones, and favor the dust thereof. They don't have anything. All their honor is to the dust and to the stones of what God made. But God's still glorified even in their brokenness. Even when they're so heartbroken, God hasn't changed, and they're putting the worship into God still. God is still here. I don't know. I mean, you want to say, and we're supposed to say a lot, I'm believing it's going to get better. I see so many people saying, you just got to hold true and believe. Well, sometimes it's hard. I told you that Saturday. You don't see it. You believed, and people have let you down, and things just keep going wrong, and it's just like... The other day I saw that I saved a couple years ago a Facebook post saying, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, and then it kind of criticized that, because it said, well look, Jonah and Job, or it was Job and Joseph, and all these biblical people, way more than they could handle, but... And so it was saying, that's not in the Bible. But then I stumbled upon, it was like, oh yeah, that's the message right there. Then I did stumble upon 1 Corinthians 10:13. Somebody mentioned that somewhere else. And it pretty much does say God won't give you more than you can handle. Kind of. It says he'll give you a way out through it. He's going to give us broken stuff. It's kind of encouraging to me to read this, Psalm 102. I assume it's by David. I can't say that for sure. I didn't look into it, but a lot of the Psalms are David. And David, I mean, a man after God's own heart. Is this broken? Is this heartbroken? Is this sad? Nothing's going right for him. Where have you gone? I think it's like Psalm 96. Why have you forsaken me, God? Why have you left me here? Why don't you stand up and avenge me? Why don't you look out for me? Everybody says you're supposed to just go forward and declare in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, that it will be so, and it will. David was broken. Paul went through broken times. He struggled. He fought through them, maybe. And I'm not saying we have to, but I'm not alone. We're not alone. You're not alone. Facing stuff that just seems impossible. But the verse doesn't say it's not true that God will give. It's not true that God will give you more than you can handle. Well, it kind of is. He will give you more than you can handle, but He will make a way through. And you, after you've given up, after you're broken, then you can see God. And and in verse 10 was the other verse I wanted to point out right now. It says, because of thine he points out even here, because of your indignation and wrath is why I'm in this situation, for thou hast lifted me up and cast me down. He's even in this broken time, he's saying, okay, you are a part of this, God. I mean, nothing happens except you allow it to. Now, praise God. Because a father correcteth the son who he loves. It's so hard for me right now. But I'd rather that than being the conceited rich man who's just comfortable in his riches and thinks he's got it all figured out. I don't know exactly what's broken in my life, and I don't have all the answers. Do I have something flagrantly wrong that God wants to correct? Or is God changing me to build me up for the next thing? Or trying to teach me new attitudes? I don't know. I wish I had the answers. It'd make it so much easier. But we have to go to God for those answers. We have to let God work His ways if we trust Him. And I'm trying. I'm fighting to. In the past, I would just give up and fold. No one wants me. I can't accomplish anything. Give up on yourself. That's always what I've done. But I'm telling you, I'm standing here saying, I'm not giving up. Those people who've decided the worst in me, who've looked down on me and treated me like I'm worth nothing and don't have any appreciation for what I do, it's their loss. I've loved the way we're called to, the way Jesus loved. And if you're loving that way, remember, be not weary in well-doing, for you shall reap in due time. Faith is the hope of things that you don't see. We have to come to God with faith and believe that He is a rewarder of those who live in faith. I don't understand. It's just one thing after another. So if you're feeling the same way, hey, at least I can say from here that I get you. That I understand, that I feel the same way. That I know your pain. That there's no struggle such except as common to man. Others have gone through this. David went through bitter pain. His family turned on him. His friends turned on him. Everything went wrong for him, and he was left in the wilderness with nothing, scraping by. The king, the guy who served Saul when Saul didn't deserve it. The guy who sought God when things were good and were bad. God still let these bad things come to him. Then it's hard for me to turn forward past verse 12. Praise God first of all. I hope you could praise with me. I don't know. It's my joy in a time like this because you can't see the hope. But you could say, hey, God will be glorified. God hasn't changed. And if I die, if I'm not here tomorrow, He's still God. And He is the beautiful God that you've seen and you know. You may not see it right now, but the devil wants you to hate God for what's happening. But it's not God God allows it, but it's not God who's doing these things. It's the people. Or I hadn't seen in a long time the verse of Romans 10:12 or 12 something. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. It's not God doing these things to you. It's not even, I can't speak. That's not always the case, but it's usually the case. For His people, the people that believe in Him, and it's not even the people. I mean, that's the harder one. I'm so angry. I'm so broken by people. I'm so tired of people choosing to don't want me. Don't think much of me. And I feel like I've tried to do my best and love people, but it isn't by what we do, but by what he does. Starting in verse 13. Thou shalt arise, and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come. For thy servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof. So the heathen shall fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of the earth thy glory. When the Lord shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory. Look, Zion was gone. Everything they thought God was saying, everything God had said, was vacant. What are you going to do? Be broken. My days are consumed like smoke. My bones are burned as earth. My ashes with bread, and drink mingled with weeping. It hurts. And I want to say, I've so much people push it. Look, this is to show you that no one else matters to you but God. I don't see God saying that, because with these people, I mean, it is, but it isn't saying just give up. People matter. People are supposed to be a part of our lives. And I believe for me and for you, there are going to be people that love you for who you are, that want you for who you are, that want to be a part of your thing, that if you're giving your heart to them and you're giving your passion to them and pouring it out to them, and that's a big if, but if you're loving, those people will love you too. God made us for a relationship. I don't believe God wants... Somebody sent me a message recently. The saints, they usually had to live lonely lives. Gosh, I know all about that, but that's not that is broken to me. That if that's all I have for the rest of my life, that's not enough. I believe God created love. I believe God put people for a relationship. The whole message of Jesus is to love others as you love yourself. And I'm talking romantic love, I'm talking friendship love, I'm talking servant love, loving each other as servants, as brothers. All those that may be lacking in your life from others. God doesn't want you to be broken that way. He maybe have a season for you to seek him more, but he's not just trying to say, forget people. I'm trying to teach you that people don't matter at all. No, it's trying to make you value the people who really appreciate you. At least that's the message I can give. That's all I can see. That's all I can hope in these dark times. He will regard the prayer of the destitute and not despise their prayer. He will. One of my favorite verses came back. I hadn't seen it in a while last night, but it got put somewhere. That really spoke to me a couple years ago, Deuteronomy 31:8, that the Lord thy God shall go before thee. He will neither leave thee nor forsake thee. Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. He doesn't give up. Fear not, don't be dismayed. He will not. He hasn't left you. He hasn't forsaken you. And I've said these things before. Man, I haven't said them maybe when I've been so broken and down. And I see others just going through one thing after another, and it just feels like, hey, I make a little progress and then you go further back. And honestly, it feels like my life is just at a reset. There's not people in it. Nobody's there. Nobody wants to be a part of my life. So is David's. That's all I can see. That's all I can say. You are a valuable person. We got to stick together through the tough times to remind each other that we are loved by God, that he did this for a reason, that remind us that all the things he's done in the past in our life, that we could say that was God. He has more of those. He didn't just quit because it doesn't feel like it right now, because I've seen enough where it feels that way, and then just when you've given everything up, that's when he comes through and says, look, I wasn't gone. Just for a season. I wrote in my kind of my diary or my computer programming notes, I put this loneliness period, it's for a season. It's for a couple years maybe. Somebody's going to value you. You deserve to be valued. Don't let people treat you like garbage. Don't let people walk all over you. Now, don't put yourself on a pedestal and not pull your fair share. It's so easy to do that, but don't let people treat you like you're the whole problem in this world. Humble yourself and love God, and He will raise you up. He will hear the prayers of the destitute. This shall be written for generations to come, for the generation to come, and the people which shall be created shall praise the Lord. He's creating something in our lives. In the next generation, He makes things. And I mean, there's so many analogies people always use. And honestly, when you're really heartbroken and sad, and again, this isn't just my dad. My dad's kind of the last piece of the puzzle, or one of the pieces of the puzzle, but it's the way people have treated me. It's the way people have believed about me. It's the way they've acted towards me. I'm not worth it. I'm insignificant. I know I'm not the only one who's felt that way. So, He's building something. I know all those things where it talks about, well, you have to knock down the trees to build skyscraper, or you have to plant the seed to get it to spring up. They all seem kind of so far off. But that right there, it says He's building something. What He's going to create. And I wrote last night when programming, I wrote something real quick, and it said, it's all going to be worth it when my dreams come true. Look, we need to pray for each other. If you have prayer requests, send them to me. Personally, I'm not a big fan of everybody. I mean, I'm not a big fan of kind of unpersonal prayer requests, unspoken prayer requests. I mean, they don't seem very effective. There's nothing in the Bible about pray for me that God knows what it is. Pray it's right. No. Pray specific prayers. Ask for specific prayer from the people who believe. And I believe God will answer. God hears the prayers of His people. The effective prayers of a righteous man availeth much. So put specifics to it. And if you're calling somebody else in, I mean, I've never been great at opening up to people, and now more than ever, it's like I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that again. But that's where we find life. I know people let you down 100 times. People in the church, family, friends. You open up to them and they treat you. They let you down. They maybe spread the things you say or think nothing of it. Spread the things you tell them, or they think nothing of it, or they just don't show they don't show the concern for it, or they just let you down by deciding other things about you. They give up on you. Believe the worst in you. I believe we have to, be wise. But if we can't live in fear that that anything we do might take away our hope. God's going to punish us for earnestly going to other people that we really believe, but for trusting Him, God's going to punish us for finding a friend, finding believers more than just a friend to pray for each other. Finding a pastor, finding somebody. And look, I don't have people in my life praying for me that I know, that are personal, that are intimate with my life, that want to be a part of it. And I can't promise I can be that for others right now. But I think it starts with pouring out our pain to each other, being willing to be broken and changed, being willing to trust other people. Again, for the 100th time, how many times does me forgive? 70 times, 7 times? People let me down. That many times, it feels like. But that's the whole point. How far are you going to trust God? If He's calling you to talk to someone. If there is someone, look, I know how it feels. There's not someone. We bear each other's burdens. We rejoice when others rejoice, and we mourn when others mourn. That's the mark of a godly person. I don't see a lot of that, and I'm not perfect at that either. I mean, I'm not looking for perfection, but so many ineffectual prayers where people are just happy with their life. They just sit down, say, God, give this person this, and then move on with their life. They don't get involved. So many times recently, ants falling out of the tree. So many times recently, James 2:22 or 1:22 came to heart, where it says it's about praying for a person who's cold or hungry instead of stepping up and meeting those needs. And I've had so many friends who've offered me cheap words when they could have been life, when they could have stepped up and lived life and trusted. You know, they have their reward. They have their cheap prayers. They feel good that they're doing something, but all I'll do, I'll ask for your prayers, and I will offer to pray for you. Pray that God put people in my life that want to be a part of it, that have wisdom, that have direction, that have a passion for God, and aren't afraid to live it out when it's tough. Because I haven't had a lot of that in my life. Had a lot of people flake and run off, and fear and selfishness. And I haven't had a lot of courage myself with people, and so likewise, got to pray that I can trust people even when it doesn't feel like I can anymore. Likewise, I want to pray for you, so I hope you'll give me something to pray for. I could use something to be doing right now, because I don't know what else I'm doing. Trying to make the best of this. It seems like it's got so far to go. I want to make these 5-minute messages. They turn into 30-minute messages. At least the weather and the word were pretty quick, but now I'm going on and on about this, but it's my heart. And God doesn't work on a time frame. It feels like everything in this world is in and out in 5 minutes. I want to make a podcast people can listen to on the way to work, or a video they can watch in 5 minutes before they're getting ready for work or at night. I can't do that. I'm trying. I mean, I can, but this is the real, this is the deep stuff, and it doesn't come in 5 minutes. Job didn't real quickly say a prayer and everything was right. There was no time limit on his prayer. There was no time limit on David. There was no time limit in terms of they had to be done in this amount of time. I'm so tired of time limits. I'm so tired of rushing. All the rushing I've done, it's led me here. So I'm going to ask you to pray for me. I will offer to pray for you. The prayers of a righteous believer availeth much. That's our job, to pray for one another. And look, you don't need me necessarily. I've always kind of been frustrated when everything's about prayer circles, getting together and praying. I mean, I'm not saying prayer doesn't work, but if you treat it just like it's this daily activity that you just do, kind of just like brushing your teeth. I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to make it a part of your daily habits, but it so quickly becomes in all these places kind of just a, I don't know, jaded, kind of, it loses its heartfelt passion a lot of times. So I say to you, first of all, God hasn't stopped hearing us. God's there. He loved you enough to do the best things you've had happen in your life, and I know they're so far away. They are for me too. He's not done yet. Thank Him for what He did, for those good days. so that you can remember what they're like, so that you can see them happening again. So with that, I'm going to hope you have a great day, great Monday, great Tuesday. I'm going to encourage you, as always, to be doers and not just hearers of the word. Live it out. Love passionately. Love effectively. Love generously. Love more than you think you can. The woman who gave her 1 penny or whatever it was, God blessed her. God heard her more than the guy the rich people who gave thousands of dollars, because that woman was giving her all. Give what you have. Give more than you think you can give. Not money. I mean, I'm saying money too. That God blesses people who trust Him to give their tithes, to give their money, to give their trust, to give their hope. But also people who give their love. It's what Jesus modeled for us, loving others. And so 1 Corinthians 13 shows. And there's a lot of people who want love to be this kind of, I don't know, it's reworked what it is. Love is hard. Love is complicated. Love isn't just save the environment, and it's not just pass bills to help other people. We got to do political things where we pass bills to help other people feel good about it, so we can feel good about ourselves. Love is active. It's you, what you choose to do with your time and your money. That's where you love the most. So I encourage you to live it out today. And know that God loves you. Trust in the Lord always. And we'll keep fighting another day. I love you guys. God loves you guys. Have a great day.